The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the weathered gravestones in a quiet Florida cemetery, a scene of serene finality. But within the meticulously manicured plots and carefully placed floral arrangements, a different kind of story was etched, a story of betrayal, deceit, and the chilling legacy of a woman whose crimes reached far beyond the bodies she left in her wake. This is the story of Judy Buenoano, the Black Widow of Florida, and the devastating impact her actions had on her own family, a family forever haunted by the shadows of her murderous deeds. It begins, as so many tragedies do, with an unsettling normalcy. Judy Buenoano, born Judy and Goodyear in 1943, presented an outwardly conventional facade. She was a nurse, a military wife, a mother. But beneath this carefully constructed veneer lay a darkness, a cold-blooded cunning that would shatter lives and leave a trail of heartbreak in its wake. Her life, tragically, was not about healing. It was about destruction. Judy's path toward becoming a serial killer wasn't immediately apparent. In the late 1960s, she married Air Force Sergeant James Goodyear, a man who, unbeknownst to him, was marked for death. The couple had 3 children: Michael, born in 1968, Kimberly, born in 1970, and later a 3rd child, who would also suffer immensely. Life with Judy was a precarious dance. While she projected an image of domesticity, there were whispers of her demanding nature, her tendency towards manipulation, and a burgeoning addiction to prescription painkillers. These seeds of discontent, coupled with a growing avarice, began to sprout in the fertile ground of their suburban existence in Pensacola, Florida, a city then known for its military presence and coastal charm, a far cry from the grim reality that would unfold. In 1971, Goodyear, on leave from Vietnam, was involved in an accident. Judy collected insurance money from his death and claimed her husband's life. She claimed the accident was caused by a car bomb placed in his vehicle. This was the first in a series of carefully orchestrated events designed to enrich herself and eliminate those who stood in her way. The official narrative of James Goodyear's death was one of tragic misfortune. A bomb detonated as he left his barracks. But the truth, as it would slowly emerge, was far more sinister and far more personal. Judy, it seemed, had orchestrated her husband's demise for financial gain, pocketing the life insurance payout, a chilling testament to her burgeoning ruthlessness. The trial was a media spectacle, drawing intense public attention to the story of a seemingly ordinary woman who had become a monstrous killer. Prosecutors presented a damning array of evidence, linking Judy to the deaths of her husband and her boyfriend. The details of her carefully constructed plots, the cold calculation with which she planned and executed her crimes, horrified the public. The jury, after weeks of deliberation, found her guilty. The courtroom in Tampa became a stage where Judy Buenoano's true nature was exposed. The prosecution painted a vivid picture of a woman driven by greed, a serial poisoner who systematically eliminated those who stood between her and financial gain. They presented evidence of her purchasing arsenic, of her making conflicting statements to authorities, and of the significant insurance policies she had taken out on her victims. The defense attempted to cast doubt, to portray Judy as a victim of circumstance or a troubled woman incapable of such calculated malice. But the overwhelming weight of evidence, particularly the scientific findings of arsenic poisoning, proved too much to overcome. Judy Buenoano was convicted of the murder of her husband, James Goodyear, as well as the attempted murder of Bobby Joe Morris, and she was sentenced to death. The state of Florida, particularly the correctional facilities in which she was held, became the final chapters of her public life. In the Florida State Prison, she was visited by her son Michael, but the relationship was strained. Her children were forced to grapple with the unbearable truth of their mother's actions. It was a truth that would forever shape their lives, casting a long shadow over their every relationship and every memory. Imagine the desolation for Michael and his siblings, growing up in the shadow of such a monstrous figure. Their childhood memories, once perhaps tinged with the innocence of family life, were now irrevocably tainted by the knowledge of their mother's crimes. The very foundation of their identity, the bond with their mother, was shattered, replaced by a profound sense of betrayal and confusion. The story doesn't end with Judy's execution in 1998. It continues in the hushed whispers of those left behind, in the haunted eyes of the children and grandchildren she left. In the digital age, with the rise of true crime media, Judy's crimes have been documented, analyzed, and dissected. The Black Widow's story is now well known, but the true focus should be the untold story of her children, who had to wrestle with the knowledge that the woman who gave them life was also a monster. Her son, Michael, as well as her daughter, Kimberly, were forced to navigate a world where their mother's name was synonymous with evil. They had to contend with the public's judgment, the relentless media scrutiny, and the inevitable questions about how they could possibly be related to such a woman. They had to live with the knowledge of the pain and suffering their mother inflicted on others, including their own father. How does one begin to reconcile such a brutal truth? The burden of carrying the legacy of a serial killer is immeasurable. It infects every aspect of life, from personal relationships to professional endeavors. The constant fear of judgment, the internalized shame, and the struggle to forge an identity separate from their mother's infamy are silent battles they continue to fight. The Reddit post, from Judy's grandson, sheds a sliver of light into the private pain of the family. It is a story of an unseen wound. The details are guarded, as one might expect, as no grandson would ever want to be defined by the sins of their family. And in this story, the most horrific crime of all was family betrayal. Their lives are now defined by a history none of them chose, a legacy they must carry. It's a burden no child should bear, and yet, it is a burden they are forced to carry for life. This digital whisper from a descendant offers a poignant glimpse into the enduring scar tissue left by Judy Buenoano's crimes. It highlights the intergenerational trauma, the way the poison of her actions seeped into the fabric of her family, leaving its mark on those who were never directly harmed, but who live in the shadow of her monstrous legacy. The impact is felt even now. Many true crime enthusiasts will never truly know the details of what happened in the Buenoano household. The legal filings detail all the major parts of the case, but they only tell a fraction of the story, and the more important aspects, the ones that are truly damning, are hidden away, never to be known and forever mourned. The unspoken grief, the private conversations, the moments of quiet despair, these are the elements that truly encapsulate the human cost of Judy Buenoano's life. While the public narrative focuses on the sensationalism of the crimes, the deeper, more profound story lies within the hearts of those who were left to navigate the ruins. The story of Judy Buenoano's crimes serves as a stark reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of even the most ordinary lives. It's a warning about the seductive power of greed and the devastating consequences of a twisted moral compass. More importantly, it is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, the enduring power of family, and the lingering impact of trauma. It is a story that reminds us that the echoes of crime can reverberate through generations, haunting the innocent and shaping the narrative of lives forever changed. Perhaps Judy Buenoano's grandson will one day share his family's full story. Maybe, by bearing witness, it could begin to heal the wounds inflicted by her actions. In the end, the real story is not just about the crimes, it is about the families. It is a story that deserves to be told, so that we may never forget the price of evil and the lasting scars it leaves behind. The quiet stillness of the cemetery belies the tempest that raged within one family, a storm born of a mother's insatiable darkness, and a storm whose echoes continue to shape the lives of those who were left behind to weather its aftermath.